Workplace rules and regulations all over the world are stuck against the workers. Workers are like footballers who are playing in a game where the reward is like $100 billion. But if you lose, you will be killed. The problem with this game, the problem with the rules is that if you touch the ball, you will be penalized. There will be a penalty kick against your team. You are not allowed to touch the ball, whether deliberately or deliberately. Whenever the ball touches you, it's a penalty kick against your team. It's a penalty kick against the workers' team. So how can they win? How are they going to win? Surely they are going to be killed, because you cannot win if you cannot touch the ball. Even your goalkeeper, whenever he touches the ball, it's a penalty kick against your team. So how are you going to win? The rules and regulations are stuck against the workers. This is the game the workers cannot win. An employer goes to the bank and he acquires a loan of 50,000 rand. He buys a taxi. Then he gives the taxi he employs a worker to drive the taxi for him. The worker makes money to pay off that 50,000 rand. Then the worker makes some more money to pay off the whole debt for the taxi. But at the end, the taxi belongs to the owner or to the employer. That is how a worker is supposed to be a player, but he's not allowed to touch the ball. The rules are stuck against the worker. He cannot win. They blame the worker for being lazy. They blame the worker for being stupid and useless. That is why they say he must be paid less. That's why he cannot earn equal to the employer. But the worker, stupid and useless as he is the one who's making the money. It's not the employer. He's the one who pay off the debt for 50,000 and he's the one who pay off the debt for the taxi. The whole taxi was paid by his money. Yet the taxi does not belong to him, it belongs to the employer. He is playing the game where he is not allowed to touch the ball. He's not playing the game where whenever he touches the ball, it's a penalty kick against him. How will the player win the game? Those rules and regulations are unfair to the worker. And it's a responsibility of every worker, each and every worker all over the world, whether you are in France or in Belgium, in Nigeria or in Zimbabwe, in China or in America, in Canada or you are in Russia. All the workers of the world must unite and stand up to change the rules, to make the rules fair, to level the playing field. Because the situation of the workers is hopeless the way it is right now. Because it's like you eat. When you don't eat, you starve. When you eat, the employer gets filled. When you don't work, you starve. When you work harder, the employer gets rich, and still you starve. Imagine a game whereby they tell you you cannot touch the ball, or you just leave you outside to be a spectator. But the consequences are yours if you lose. But you are not playing, you are sitting outside. Imagine when you are told that if the moment you touch the ball is a penalty kick against you. And how are they going to kill you? They will tie you to a pole. Then they will pour petrol. They will sit you on top of the coal. They will pour petrol over your feet and they will burn you. They will burn your feet until they are charred. They will burn your feet until they are ashes. Just imagine You're sitting there, burning, you're smelling your own flesh, burnt flesh. You are in pain, you are burning alive. Your feet are going to be burned until they are ashes, and you must go through that pain. Then when they finish that, when you're finished, your feet are ashes, then they start burning your hands until they're ashes, and you have to live through that pain. That is the punishment for losing the game. But you are not allowed to play on that game. You are not allowed to touch the ball on that game. That is how the rules and regulations of the workplace, whatever the workplace, are stuck against the workers. An employer borrows money, then he make a loan of 200,000 rand, and the workers make it 20 million rand. Yet that 20 million rand belongs to the owner, and the workers are at his mercy. He can decide how much to give them, just enough to make them survive. When they don't work much, they starve. When they work a lot, the employer gets rich. When you don't eat, you starve. When you eat a lot, then the employer is getting filled, and still you starve. The rules and regulations of this world are put. They've been designed during the time of slavery. They were designed to be against the slave. A slave had the right to work, but not to own anything that he worked for. An employee or a worker has the right to work, but not to own, not to have ownership of anything that he has worked for. It is time that workers all over the world, we must unite and stand up and overthrow these rules, overthrow these laws, overthrow these regulations that are stuck against us. No one is going to fight for us. Employers won't fight for us. We see the employers becoming the leaders of the labor movement. The employers become the leaders. The leaders of the trade unions are employers. They've got employees, and they exploit them, yet they claim to be the leaders of the workers. It's not different from a lion becoming fighting for the rights of rabbits, whereas the lion is the one that is eating the rabbit. It's not different from the crocodile fighting for the rights of the fish, whereas the crocodile is the one responsible for killing the fish. Employers cannot be responsible for the rights of the workers. That is something that workers all over the world must get into their head. Let us get this on our thick skulls, that employers cannot represent the rights of the workers. It is like a human being represents the rights of food. Without eating the food, you will die. And that's why you cannot represent the rights of food. Maybe food must represent the rights of food. Maybe chicken must represent the rights of chicken, not human beings who are going to eat those chicken in the end. Employers cannot represent the rights of the workers. That is why wherever there are labor parties, you may think that when a labor party has won elections, then it will be a paradise for the workers. But it still remains a hell for the workers, because the leaders of the labor party are employers themselves. They've got domestic workers who they are exploiting. Employers cannot be the leaders of the employees. Employees must stand up together and stand up for their rights. We must stand up together and stand up for our rights. We must change the rules. The rules must allow us to play. We cannot be spectators in a game where the consequences are going to be played on us. We cannot play a game where we are not allowed to touch the ball. We cannot work and not be allowed to own what we are working for. We must fight for equal ownership. A taxi driver cannot pay for the taxi from the first installment to the last, but still he has no ownership even of the tire of that taxi. We have to fight for equal ownership. we have to change the rules. These rules have to be changed, and nobody's going to change them except the workers themselves. A crocodile will never fight for the rights of the fish, because without eating the fish, the crocodile will die. It is the fish themselves that must stand up for their own rights. The fish cannot depend on the crocodile to defend their rights, because then they will be finished, they will be decimated. They will go extinct. That is why the workers, ourselves, we must stand up together and fight for and change the rules. The slaves must stand up together and change the rules. You cannot depend on the slave owner to change the rules for you. Fish cannot depend on the crocodile to save them. Fish must save themselves. Slaves must save themselves. Workers must save themselves. We must change the rules, and we must be allowed to play the game. We must change the rules, and we must be allowed to be part of the game. Let the rules be fair. We cannot work in the farms and yet die and get proper funeral. We cannot even be allowed to be buried in the farms where we are born and work all our lives, because we have no ownership. It is time for workers all over the world to stand up together, irrespective of the color of your skin, irrespective of your nationality. It's the time that workers must stand up together and defeat slavery and defeat employment system and fight for and install equal ownership.